Hello everyone, today we're going to talk about IVF treatment and also how TCM acupuncture can help you and support you along the procedure. So first of all, we would like to talk about what is IVF treatment and what group of people can be benefited from it. So with IVF treatment, it's called in vitro fertilization treatment plus the embryo transfer. And it has been proven to be very effective for couples who are facing or experiencing some extent of fertility challenge or couples that got challenged in reproductive procedures. So with that, it can actually help people with anatomical problems, for example, the blockage in the fallopian tube or also the challenges that the couples may face during their sex life. So with IVF, the success rate is not guaranteed to be 100%, as we all know. No treatment clinically can be guaranteed to be 100%. And with some studies and researches show that actually the success rate for women who's under 35 years old would be around 32%. And with the women aged between 38 to 40 or 40 to 42 years old, the success rate will actually largely reduce down to 11%. So we all know IVF treatment can be invasive and it's actually painful and cause very high treatment for everyone. So we all want to increase the success rate when we start or we consider to receiving one of these treatments. So with IVF, the steps or the procedures is quite simple and easy to understand. So that involves the preparation stage, collection stage, fertilization outside the mother's womb, and also the transfer and implantation. If the implantation is successful, then it means the woman receiving the IVF treatment is pregnant, and that's something that everyone wants to hear about, the good news. However, due to the low successful rate, it can also be a hurdle for some couples when they are considering or they are undergoing the treatment of IVF. So now here comes acupuncture, how we can help you or support you along the procedures and to increase the successful rate. So before we talk about the mechanism and how we can support you with that, I want to show you guys some pictures and to help you to better understand how we can help you with that. So first of all, this one can be showed in a separate slide later, but then just to help me to explain this to you easier. So we need to understand in our body, so for men and women, we all get the axis called the hypothalamus, pituitary and gonad axis, which control the hormones that's secreted from our sex organs. It would affect the endometrium and also the egg maturation in our body to see if the pregnancy or the conception can be successful. So for example, if there's something occurred during the access, then the hormones get messed up, then of course it will lead to a lower successful rate in pregnancy, including with the IVF treatment. So when we talk about the intervention and the treatment that we provided to support the IVF sessions, then we need to look into these aspects. So with the IVF treatment, the doctor will prescribe you several medications in different phases. So with phase, we will just simply divide it into three phases, which is the preparation phase, the transfer, fertilization stage, and also the post-care stage. So that would be the implantation happening around the post-care stage. And with the preparation stage, the medication will be prescribed to suppress the natural cycles in your body so that the stimulation phase later on can be more successful and effective. So that's why usually the medication will start with the oral contraceptive, so to help you to suppress the natural cycle. And after that, FSH, the follicle stimulating hormones, will be prescribed to mothers to help to stimulate the growth of follicles inside the ovaries for the egg collections preparation. So with that, we can see that it's involved the hormones called GnRH, LH, and FSH. So these few hormones will be affecting the egg maturation and also the collection in the later stage. If something is wrong or is not sensitive, not responsive in this stage, then it will massively affect the quality of the eggs or the numbers of eggs that to be collected. So that's why even with the medication prescribed to the mother, sometimes the number, the quantity, and the quality of eggs can't be guaranteed. So sometimes it may be less than 10 eggs to be collected. Then the fertilization outside the mother's womb will be affected because there will be less numbers of fertilized eggs to be selected from the lab. And with that, when you can't pick the best quality of the fertilized eggs, we also call it embryo, then the successful rate for the implantation will also be reduced. So when we understand these aspects, then we can talk about how acupuncture can help you with that. As we all know, the unsuccessful IVF treatment actually can simply just lead to two major reasons. That would be the unsuccessful egg collection and unsuccessful implantation. And what can cause the unsuccessful egg collection can be various reasons. Like we discussed, the poor egg quality or poor sperm quality sometimes, and also it could be the low numbers of eggs collected, or actually the side effects of the stimulations of the follicle stage, so the preparation stage. The side effect is too strong for the mother, so the treated patients, they can't really take on the treatment from the IVF, so they will need to pause the treatment. That would be the three main reasons why there would be unsuccessful egg collection. So with that, that's something that we can help you with. So a lot of studies show that with the support of acupuncture for 3 to 6 months time before the preparation stage or during the preparation stage, we improve the quality and also the reserve in the ovaries. So when they start to receive the medication from the doctors in the preparation stage, they can see increase in the numbers of the follicles and matured eggs in the ovaries for egg collection. So that's something, the first point that we can help you with. And secondly, is about stress. We all know about stress, but what stress can negatively impact the IVF treatment and the successful rate will be another story. So with stress, we know that. I'm just going to explain that very briefly here because I can't go into too details or else I will just talk until tomorrow's morning. So with stress, the direct impact in our body is when stress came in, we can see there will be decrease in our non-adrenaline hormones and 5-HT in our body, in the blood. When the non-adrenaline decrease in our body, GnRH that we mentioned earlier, these hormones can be also decreased in terms of the concentration. When it got decreased in concentration, it would interfere with the LH, FSH, and also the estrogen and progesterone in the body. So we can see stress can cause impact negatively. And with acupuncture, a lot of studies already is very established already. We know that acupuncture can help you with the stress level and also to correct, regulate the hormones in the body, including the non-adrenaline and 5-HT we mentioned. And with that, we can stabilize the hormones inside and to lower the risk of interventions by these hormones affecting the egg collection phase. So the second point that we can help you with acupuncture. So thirdly, let's move on to the egg collections and fertilizations. As we said, during this stage, that would be something to do outside the mother's womb. So the doctor will take the needles into the mother's womb, the ovaries, to collect the eggs and do the fertilization outside the lab. And that's something that we can't control because that will depend on the egg quality, quantity, and the sperm quality as well. So after that, we need to wait for the result. And as we said, after acupuncture, the quality and quantity of eggs and sperm can be increased. So that's something that we support that during the preparation stage already. So after the fertilization, that would be the transfer phase. So the doctors will call you into the clinic or hospital for the embryo transfer. So at that point, one embryo will be already selected, usually the best one, to get transferred back to the mother's uterus. And with that, after the transfer, then the implantation will happen, we hope. So if implantation is success, then it means the pregnancy is successful as well. So with that, how acupuncture can help you with that? As we mentioned earlier, the second major reason why IVF treatment is not successful because of the unsuccessful implantation. And what factors can cause unsuccessful implantation? That would be involved the thickness of the endometrium. So it means the uterus lining is not thick enough or is not healthy enough for implantation. We all know when the embryos got into the uterus, it's not guaranteed that it will get implant into the endometrium if the structures of the endometrium is not healthy enough, or if it's not thick enough, then there will be no implantation happening at that moment. So with acupuncture, there's a lot of studies before we can see that with the acupuncture support, the endometrium thickness can increase from 4.48 to maximum like 8 millimeters. So to get the uterus lining to be perfect and ready for implantation to happen. So that's the one thing that we can help. And secondly, also stress. So we know that IVF is it's a very invasive and something that we don't want to go through again and again. So that a lot of couples, they will bear a lot of stress inside their mind, mentally. They feel very nervous for the implantation and transfer. And it can also cause the imbalance of the hormones that we mentioned and directly cause contraction of your uterus. When it happened, contraction of uterus can negatively affect implantation. So that's why sometimes if we are too stressed about that, the implantation rate will be low. So again, acupuncture can help the mother and the couples to feel more relaxed and calmed during the process of transfer and implantation to help them to increase the rate of success in the IVF treatment. So that will be the mechanism and the benefits that you can get from acupuncture when you are doing the IVF treatment or when you are thinking of getting one. And now we're going to talk about the frequency and also how often you should come to a clinic for the acupuncture treatment. So with that, we always advise the couple to visit our clinic for acupuncture 3 to 6 months before they start the IVF treatment in terms of the preparation phase. So with that, we want to have to stabilize and regulate the whole, we talk about the HPG axis to be very stable and the hormones is not messed up in the body so that the body can be more sensitive and responsive to the medications that your doctor will prescribe to you in the preparation phase. And during the process, so we talk about the second phase is the egg collection and fertilization stage. So we usually advise the woman to come into the clinic 1 day before the transfer and also on the day of transfer. So a lot of studies also support that if they do that, so on the date and the day before and the day after the transfer, the successful rate will also increase hugely. So that would be something that we advise you to do. And after the transfer, we also want you to come in once every 2 to 3 days for the implantation phase to help you to boost the circulation and the blood circulation around uterus to help you to increase the successful rate in terms of the implantation. So that would be the treatment plan that we advise to our patients that's thinking of undergoing the IVF treatment. But of course, the details of the treatment plan varies between individuals. We need to see you face to face. So after consultation, we can better advise you what you can do and what we can support you along the whole IVF procedure. So that would be the information about IVF and acupuncture today. So if you have any more questions or inquiries, feel free to visit our clinic and our practitioner can advise you more on this.